When you listen to MMA radio, people always want to talk about their first UFC experience. Mine was at UFC 65, Bad Intentions in Sacramento. Two things stood out. One, there were these two drunk broads sitting below me that kept saying, "Kick him in the jibby! Kick me in the jibby!" And then they were like, "Hey, where do we hear that?" And they were like, "I don't know, we're drunk." And I was like, well, obviously it was from Beavis and Butthead, but they didn't remember. And plus they were drunk and stupid. And Matt Ross, the guy who plays one of the bad guys from the TV show called Big Love, he was walking around trying to get noticed, and like no one noticed him except for me. And I wasn't going to ask him for an autograph because I was there to see fighters, not crappy, shows on HBO. So I don't want to go sexy Phil on you guys, but leave a comment about your first UFC experience. I was flipping through the channels last night and Show XC was on, and then Aaron Rosa was fighting some guy named Hammond, and then it says Rosa defeated by Hammond back in 2007, and like they totally gave away the results. I mean, could you imagine opening a book and like the results of the book are on the first page? Like you open the Bible, he comes back. Or if you saw a commercial for UFC 94, UFC 94 only on pay-per-view, cards subject to change. But instead of saying cards subject to change, every fight will go to a decision. Real quick, I want to say, if you go to Full Contact Fighter, fcfighter.com, you listen to the radio program, Jeff, the Wombat Meszaros, is the funniest dude you will hear on the radio. Go check it out, and hopefully they'll send me a free shirt. This doesn't say throwdown. No one's giving Wilson Gouveia a chance. I say he wins by knockout. Believe it or not, mixed martial arts is not a mainstream sport yet. Because if I walked up to a dude and say, "Hey man, you look like Michael Jordan," he's like, "Yeah, I hear that all the time." Or if I walked up to some guy and say, "Hey, you look like Barry Zito," he'd be like, "Yeah, I hear that all the time." Well, I was at a comedy show last night, and I was sitting on the mic, and I'm like, "Hey, raise your hand here if you look like Spencer Fisher." And the guy that looked like Spencer Fisher was sitting across the way, and like he didn't raise his hand. I was like, "What, no one ever told you you look like Spencer Fisher?" And he's like, "No." And then later on I started talking to him and his girlfriend, and they actually watch every single UFC. So point being, no one's ever told him he looks like Spencer Fisher because, unfortunately, not a lot of people know who Spencer Fisher is. I do, you do, fans do, but the majority of people that just watch the UFC to see Chuck Liddell knock somebody out don't know who he is. Nick Diaz versus Frank Shamrock is going to be an awesome fight. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Frank Shamrock, and I'm a huge fan of Nick Diaz. One, because I'm from the Stockton area, but I was born in the San Jose area. Well, actually, I was born in San Jose. So, I feel home at both places, and it's going to be awesome to see who wins the battle for NorCal. However, if the Stockton people want to see the fight, they're going to have to go to San Jose to see it live, and they're actually going to have to pay this time because, unlike Pro Elite, they're not going to give away tickets to all these cheap asses in Stockton over at the arena.